I'm Owen Big Glen. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, I'm going to touch on a number of topics here, Vancouver real estate related topics here. A couple of things. I always see, these are always out there, you'll see blurbs in the media and the newspaper, and I see a lot of this in the Wall Street Journal and talk in the States as well. People are always, complaining about realtor commissions. They're paid too much. You don't need a realtor. You can sell a home on your own, a FSBO as they're known, for sale by owner, save tens of thousands of dollars in commissions. Why use a realtor? Well, I've talked about this many times in my blog over the years, but they'll often say, hey, the story of the guy, I listed my house through on a for sale by owner. I bought a package for $500 and everything was great, and I saved $25,000 on the commission. Well, all I can say about that is, how do you know you did save $25,000 on commission? You don't. You sold your home commission free, or paid the $1,000 for the kit, and then paid probably another $1,500 or $1,800, I hope, to at least get a lawyer to draft the contract and review the contract and run the title searches and all that, because that's a whole other thing there that your realtor would do for you if you hired a realtor. But you will never know. That's the whole thing. You think you saved $25,000 of commission, but I've got news for you. I can tell you right now, you left a lot of money on the table, because you didn't expose that home to 99% of the people out there. The buyers are working with realtors. The realtors are using the MLS and the Paragon system to look for homes. You're fit for sale by owner with your sign in the front yard and your ad on Craigslist is not getting any exposure. I can tell you that there's a very good chance you got taken advantage of. Most for sale by owners end up getting taken advantage of. They end up selling the home for far too less, because you're never going to know what you really saved unless you actually listed it with a realtor, put it on the MLS, let the realtor market the home, and then more importantly, let that realtor offer what we call a full cooperating commission. Because most buyers are working with realtors. You have to pretty much these days. You cannot really double end deals anymore. You want to have fiduciary duty and legal representation if you're a buyer, and that's what your realtor will give you. So these realtors aren't going to work for free. They're not going to sell your house offering zero commission. So, if you're worried about the commission, you add that into your selling price, and I can tell you unequivocally that you have left money on the table as a for sale by owner. You haven't exposed the property fully, and you have not exposed it to 99% of the buyers who have a buying side realtor. And if they have a buying side realtor, you want to offer them a commission in exchange for their time and all the effort they're putting in that home search and doing their due diligence and doing the running all the reading all the documents, the engineer's reports, title search, getting a home inspection. These are all things that your buying realtor is going to do for you and is going to expect to get paid for it. So be very careful when you see those stories about, saved all this money in commission. Well, you're never going to know that unless you've actually sold your house through the proper channels. Now, don't get me wrong. I've said many times too, all realtors are not created equal. They are not. And that's why I tell people to interview at least a couple of realtors for the job. Your beer league buddy who might sell homes out in Langley is probably not going to be a good fit for selling your Yaletown condo. Doesn't know the market. You really want to hire an experienced listing pro. Someone who's been in the business a long time, preferably probably as a top producer, a Medallion Club or a President's Club, has a deep and thorough marketing program and can explain what they're going to do to get extra exposure to your home. They'll explain to you how the commission structure works and the importance of offering a full cooperating commission to entice other realtors to bring us buyers. Because remember, the more potential buyers you have, the more exposure, the more interest, the higher your selling price is going to be. So these are the things that you want to look at. But interview a couple of realtors. I mean, I've talked about it. I see every day, homes that, yikes, I don't know what they were doing. I'll give you an example. There was a good listing that hit here last week. I got my clients in, we had a look at it on day 2. They had just listed it. Good unit. I know the strata. Called her back that night to say that I want to write an offer. I'm going to bring her an offer. And she told me, too late. We've already got an accepted offer. Took an offer after 2 days on market and had only had about 3 showings on the home. That is nuts. You know, in this market, especially in downtown Vancouver, with the low inventory we've got, you should be doing holdbacks, folks. If your realtor's not showing that home for at least a full week, getting people through, having some open houses on the weekends, you're leaving money on the table by taking an offer with 1 or 2 days on market, yet it happens all the time. I've complained about it many times on my blog here. There's a couple things I want to touch on here too. Friction costs with real estate, because a lot of people, I've told people that when you're buying real estate, it's a long-term commitment. Real estate is incredibly expensive to buy and sell. And here I am, a listing realtor. I make my money selling homes. I do a lot of business on the buying side too, but most of my business is on the listing and marketing side. And I tell people, if you can, hang on to the home. You know, there's lots of good reasons to sell a home. You want to move up to a bigger home. You're starting a family. You want to move out from Vancouver to the Fraser Valley. You want to downsize. You're going to move out of the city or move out of the province. Divorce and there's lots of unfortunate things that can happen to people that might have them to cause to sell a house. But, buying and selling houses just to get a quick profit on it, you buy the house, it's worth $100K more 3 years later. I'm going to sell it and rent and buy back in later. Never a good idea, because your friction costs in real estate are incredibly high. You've got your PTT, biggest tax grab going on the way in, 1% on the first 200, 2% on the balance. Total tax grab. You could be looking at $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in PTT. You've got a set of conveyance costs. You might have GST. When you sell it, if it's not a principal residence, you've got capital gains tax, and then a fairly heavy set of commissions on top of that, and another set of conveyancing fees. Buy and hold the house. Like Jack Bogle says, it's the same thing with your investment portfolio. Buy the index and then sit on your hands if you can. And if you have to sell, or have to move, I should say, and the market's down, have a backup plan. Maybe be able to rent it, put a tenant in for a few years until the market recovers. That will guarantee a good outcome. The other thing quickly I want to talk about too is double dipping on the GST. I've talked about this, and it's still, a lot of people don't know about this, and a lot of realtors don't know about this either. A lot of people think that when they buy a new pre-sale condo, you get the keys, you pay the developer the 5% GST. What a lot of people don't realize is that if you turn around and sell that condo in under a year, less than 12 months, that you haven't lived in it as your principal residence, the new buyer, or you, depending on how the contract is written, is going to get hit with a second set of GST. Revenue Canada is double dipping on the GST. I know it doesn't seem fair, it's not, but they will hit you with another set of GST. So, when I'm buying, if I am going after a condo that's only a couple of months old, 3 or 4 months old, it's vacant, it's for sale. If I write an offer on that and I'm representing the buyer, I am going to put a clause in there that says that this price that I'm offering you is inclusive of all GST. Oftentimes, the seller who's not aware of these things thinks, oh, that's no problem. I already paid the GST from the developer. And then to their surprise, 5, 6, 8, 9 months later, who knows, it could be a while, you'll get a letter in the mail saying, hey, you owe us a second set of GST. You owe us $42,000 GST. And of course, they'll say, well, I already paid the GST. No, you didn't. You did, but you resold it 2 months after you took the keys. We pulled the contract, and in the contract, it says you are liable or on the hook for any other GST payable. And they are. First, they're going to go to the buyer on it. If it's not written to the contract, they're going to say, you owe us that second set of GST. But of course, if it's my client, I'm going to say, no, we don't. I've written it into the contract. They'll say, send us a copy of the contract of purchase and sale. And this has happened to me. We send them a copy of the contract of purchase and sale, and sure enough, our contract reads that it's inclusive of GST. So then what they do is they go back to that buyer, that seller. Seller is shocked. I already paid the GST. No, you didn't. You paid it, but you sold it, you flipped it, you hadn't lived in it for a year. You owe us another $34,000 in GST. You got to be careful with that. It's how you write it in the contract, and it's all negotiable. I've had other cases where, that seller knows I'm selling this home. I've paid the first set of GST, but if you buy this home from me, you're going to have to pay a second set of GST. So it's all negotiable. You got to be careful with the GST here in properties that are less than a year old and the owner has not lived in it for at least a full year before they sell it. I'm Owen Big Len. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.